Hi everyone, it's Sandy, and in today's video I'm going to share with you my favorite books that I read in 2017. 2017 was a lot of a slower reading year for me, especially towards the end of the year. As some of you may know, I studied abroad during my fall semester, and while I studied abroad, I only read one book in the course of 4 months, so there was not a lot of reading that got done towards the end of the year. The videos that I've posted during the last 4 months were all pre-filmed video, and this is the first video that I'm actually filming in over 4 months. So I'm definitely very excited to get back into filming videos, watching videos, and reading. So let's go ahead and get started with the 13 books that I have to talk about. They aren't in any particular order other than the fact that I'm mentioning them based on when I read them, so I'm going to start off from the beginning of 2017 all the way towards the end of 2017. The first book I'm going to talk about is History Is All You Left Me by Silvera. This is actually the first book that I read in the year of 2017, and it automatically became a favorite of mine. So my 2017 was off to a fantastic start. This book follows Griffin, whose ex-boyfriend Theo has recently passed away in a drowning accident. Throughout this book, Griffin is grieving Theo's death and reminiscing the memories that he's had with Theo. He's also struggling with his worsening OCD. I do have a full book review on this book, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely check out that book review. I will leave a link down below. But one of my favorite things about this book is Silvera's writing. Within the very first page, he hooked me. I was immediately in love with his writing. Silvera's writing is beautiful yet heartbreaking. I also really love the format of the story. The story switches between past and present, and it allows readers to learn more about the history of Griffin and Theo. Adam writes in a way that makes you feel all the feels. You feel the rawness and the realness of Griffin's emotions. This is an Own Voices book, and I love the representation we had in it. Griffin is gay, has OCD. This is a book that I really loved, and if you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend that you do so. My next favorite book of 2017 is The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. I don't have a physical copy of this book, which I need to get my hands on soon. This is a dark book that discusses rape culture, and I feel like it's not talked about a lot on BookTube. I definitely do see a handful of people talking about it, but I don't think the amount of people talking about it is enough, and I think it deserves a lot more hype. This book follows 3 different people. I'm not going to go into their backgrounds, but each character has a really important role in exemplifying certain themes and messages. I think that this is an incredibly powerful book that everyone needs to read. Rape culture is relevant to our society today, and it needs to be talked about. This book talks about important subjects that people don't really talk about. This book talks about the treatment of women, slut-shaming, and so much more. In just over 300 pages, it leaves an incredibly powerful impact on you, and I think it's a book that everyone needs to read. The next book I'm going to talk about is We Should All Be Feminist by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is actually a book that was adapted from her TED Talk, so if you can't get access to the book, I highly recommend watching that TED Talk video. I think it's like 30 minutes. I love the discussion of feminism in this book, especially coming from a person of color. The author is a Nigerian woman, so it was really interesting to read about her views of feminism. Since this book is so short and you can access the TED Talk version of it, I think this should be required reading everywhere. I feel like so many people can learn so much from this woman. My next favorite read of 2017 is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. This book follows Star Carter, who is 16 years old and witnesses one of her best friends being shot and killed by a police officer. I thought this book was phenomenal. It discusses police brutality, which is also something that's really relevant to our society today. I thought Star was a fantastic main character. She felt so authentic and real to me. I really enjoyed seeing her character growth, and I absolutely love the family dynamic in this book. I'm so pumped for the Hate You Give movie. Angie Thomas seems to be pretty happy about the movie, so if an author is happy about a movie, you know that the readers should be happy about the movie as well. My next favorite read of 2017 is Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. This book follows Charlie and Taylor, who are best friends and are attending a convention. Charlie is actually a Chinese-Australian YouTuber who recently starred in a movie, and Taylor wants to meet the author of her favorite book series, but she also has anxiety and is on the autism spectrum. What I loved about this book is that it's really relatable. I related to both Taylor and Charlie. With Taylor, I related to her anxiety. A lot of the sentences in this book that describes how Taylor felt when she was feeling anxious perfectly describes how I feel when I have anxiety. I also really love the setting of this book. It takes place at a convention, which is super cool. There were also a lot of great messages in this book. There were messages that challenges biphobia. There is a biphobic scene in this book, and Charlie was able to shut that down super quick. There were also messages surrounding slut shaming and fat shaming, and overall I thought this was a really fun and cute read, and the 2 romances in this book are also super cute as well. My next favorite book of 2017 2017 is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Since this is the second book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, I can't really go much in depth about my thoughts on this book. I do have a full review and discussion on this book if you're interested in checking that out. I will leave a link down below. But briefly, I love this book. I love the plot, I love the characters, I love the Blackthorn family, and this book destroyed me, but I still love it. My next two favorites are part of a duology, and I read them during the same year, so I'm going to mention them at the same time, and that is The Fixer and The Long Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So at the moment, this is just a duology, so there's only 2 books in the series. This series is really similar to the premise of Scandal. The main character, Tess, has an older sister named Ivy who is known as The Fixer, which means she makes scandals disappear, aka Olivia Pope 2.0. I love that these books are very plot driven and they keep you engaged the entire time you're reading it. These books are also super suspenseful, and the author will throw in so many twists at you that you will never in a million years expect. The author continues to blow me away with every single twist that is revealed over the course of these 2 books. So if you're looking for a mystery thriller book, I highly recommend these 2 books. My next favorite of 2017 is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This book follows Molly, who has had 26 crushes but has never been in a relationship. I adored this book, and I love how there are so many diverse characters in this book. We have Molly and Cassie, who are sperm donor babies to 2 moms. Cassie is in a relationship with a Korean American girl who is pansexual. Molly is also Jewish. She has anxiety, which she is on medication for, and she also has an underrepresented body type. In the book, she describes herself as being fat. I also read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda for the first time in 2017, and while I really enjoyed that book, I think I love this book a lot more than Simon vs., mainly because I related to Molly a lot more than I did with Simon's character. I found myself connecting to Molly's character when it comes to how she felt in certain situations, the way that she thinks, and with boys and relationships. I also love the portrayal of the sibling relationship between Molly and Cassie. Overall, this was such a great read, and I look forward to all the future books that Becky Albertalli will be publishing in the future. My next favorite of 2017 is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This book has to do with parallel worlds, and I really enjoyed reading about that. The parallel worlds revolve around different types of London, and I really enjoyed reading about how the author would explain all of that. It was also cool to see the differing political dynamics between these different Londons. I love how complex the characters were. I loved reading from both of their perspectives. I did like Lila's perspective a little bit more. I read this book in the summer, and I did intend on finishing the trilogy before the end of the year, but did I do that? No. But I hope to soon. My next favorite of 2017 is Far From You by Tess Sharpe. This is a mystery thriller book. This book follows Sophie, who has nearly died twice. First, it was a car accident that left her disabled and with an addiction to drugs that helps her cope with her chronic pain. And second, it was what everyone thinks was a drug deal gone wrong, where her best friend Mina was shot and killed in her presence. However, Sophie has been in recovery for months when Mina was killed. She is now determined to piece together the truth of why Mina was targeted and who the murderer was. When I picked this book up, I did not expect this book to have the impact on me the way that it did. It was such an emotional and compelling story that took me by complete surprise. The book is told in alternating past and present timelines, and I love the way that it was told. I love the way it was written. The writing was just so beautiful. Sophie is also bisexual, so I really like that we have this representation in the story, and I love the portrayal of Sophie's relationship/friendship with Mina. This book discusses a lot of tough subjects such as chronic pain, sobriety, drug addiction, losing a loved one. The story and the writing is beautiful yet gut-wrenchingly tragic. I think this is such a great underrated book, and I would highly recommend it. My next favorite is I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maurene. This book follows Desi Lee, who is determined to get this new guy who recently transferred to her school to fall in love with her, and she does so by creating this step-by-step guide which is based off Korean dramas. This book can be pretty ridiculous at times, and Desi does make a lot of questionable choices. In no way am I trying to excuse the decisions that she makes during this book, but I am able to sort of look past it because of the whole Korean drama aspect. I don't watch Korean dramas, but I do have friends that do, and from what I've heard from them, a lot of crazy things happen in those dramas that usually wouldn't happen in real life. So that is why I was able to sort of look past some of the crazy things that happen in this book. But I think those crazy things do add a comedic aspect to the story. I really love the development of the romance between Desi and Luca, and I also really love the friendship in this book. Desi has 2 best friends, Wes and Fiona, and I really love seeing their interactions throughout the entire book. Desi is Korean American, and I really enjoy seeing the relationship she had with her dad, along with the incorporation incorporation of Korean culture in this book. I also find myself relating to Desi a lot. She's quirky, nerdy, and can be pretty awkward at times. This was such a cute contemporary. I think it's the perfect rom-com book. This book is very easy to get into and it had a great balance of heartwarming and hilarious moments. And the last book I'm going to talk about in my favorite books of 2017 video is Warcross by Marie Lu. This book follows Emeka Chen, who is a bounty hunter, which means that she hunts down people who bet illegally on this game called Warcross. One day, as an attempt to make some money, she accidentally glitches herself into the game Warcross during the championships, and so she thinks she's going to get arrested, but instead the creator of the game Warcross offers her a job opportunity. This was such an action-packed book that was so thrilling and kept me engaged the entire time. I thought the world building was really well done, and I thought the world of Warcross itself was incredibly unique. The whole concept of virtual reality does remind me of Ready Player One, but this book does add a lot of very unique and refreshing elements that I haven't read before. I love seeing how virtual reality and reality was combined and used in everyday life. The main character is also really likable, witty, and clever. I also love the different types of representation that we had in this book. There were side characters from all around the world, a side character who is disabled, and two other side characters who had feelings for someone of the same sex. And our main character is also Chinese American. I really enjoyed the romance scenes in this book and how it was written. The romance didn't feel rushed, and it was also a bit slow burning, which is exactly how I like romance scenes to be written. Overall, this was a really great sci-fi read, and I highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up already. Those are all of my favorite books that I read in the year of 2017. If you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know some of your favorite books in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!